So welcome everyone. I think let's begin. So just before we start, let's taking a moment to gather within. Invoking Mother and Sri Aurobindo's presence. So I think we have to start from here, page number 23. And I last time I had wanted to share something from Veda of the body, but I realized when I was just looking at it that it's the same passage that I wanted to share. So that was really funny, which is like a good progression. There also it's the same progression. And so this is the paragraph I wanted to share by the mother, and by chance it's there itself. So yeah, but maybe we can add on Alokda's comments on this passage after we read it. Yeah. So would anyone want to read?
Yeah, I will read.
Okay, go ahead, please.
But are not illness sometimes the result of microbes and not a part of the movement of the yoga? Where does yoga begin and where does it end? It's not the whole of your life. Is not the whole of your life yoga? The possibilities of illness are always there in your body and around you. You carry within you or there swarm about you the microbes and germs of every disease. How is it that all of a sudden you succumb to an illness which you did not have for years? You will say it is due to a depression of the vital force. But from where does the depression come? It comes from some disharmony in the being, from a lack of receptivity into the divine forces. When you cut yourself off from the energy and light that sustain you, then there is the depression. There is created what medical science calls a favorable ground, and something takes advantage of it. It is doubt, gloominess, lack of confidence, a selfish turning back upon yourself that cuts you off from the light and divine energy and gives the attack disadvantage. It is this that is cause of your falling ill and not microbes. Wow.
I think
But
perhaps
day
we
to
can
day,
stop using sanitizers.
yeah, I mean, day to day life में to believe this truth, like ऐसे लगता है क्या हो रहा है वैसे ही समझ नहीं आता उसमें, मतलब ये जानकर भी ये कैसे होता है समझ नहीं आता, मतलब like when I'm reading this and I know this is the truth obviously, लेकिन can't relate. like ये कैसे होता है.
Yeah.
मतलब इतना खुद को समझना भी, mentally you get drained, because ये mentally तो समझ रहे हैं ये सारा कुछ, इसको अपना बनाने के लिए लाइक वो कन्विक्शन पहले समझेंगे तब उसे अपना बनाएंगे, बट वो समझने में ही इतने गैप्स है कि वो मतलब वो नेक्स्ट स्टेप तक पहुंचने तक तो sometimes you feel कि ये नहीं पकड़ में आ रहा. You're not getting it. I'm just talking
Yeah.
about the illness and that part, like how uh, obviously, like this is the truth, and this is what we're not getting. But also when I'm
Hmm.
trying to get it, I'm trying to get it mentally only, no? Then only
Hmm.
I'm somewhere it I will I can say this with conviction. But first round is that mentally I am like understanding this and absorbing this, and वो understanding में भी बहुत वो हो जाता है, पता है, अच्छा ये मतलब कहाँ से उसको मैं अप्लाई नहीं कर पाती हूँ.
True, true.
It's
Very true.
difficult.
Very true. And I think that's why if there is a pure intention of really wanting to understand, then life gives you such experiences. That if you really, really, really want to understand, some things that we're just reading, and although I may think that I don't understand it, but there is no real intention of understanding also. होता है हमारे साथ काफी बार that I may say that I want to understand, but true conviction is not there that I truly, truly want to understand, right? But I feel that
Yeah.
when there is any drop of true intention that one day I would actually like to understand, we are given those experiences in life, where we actually then can put into practice. One example that comes to me is, how uh, towards the end of my PhD, I was wondering, and I really wanted to understand that, something is missing. What is that something which is missing? I don't know what is that something, but one day I would like to know that what truly can be healing, or these chronic illnesses, life-threatening illnesses. And somehow you are given such an example. Okay, here it is. You find. So again, it's like feels like, did I risk my life to want to understand?
Oh
But I
my
think,
God.
yeah, I somehow can connect the dots like that. Again, something more may reveal in future, but so far, how I understand is that somewhere there was an intention that one day I would like to understand what can be true healing. And you are given such an experience that you have no other option but to convert that now mental and whatever psychological practice to now your practical life. Otherwise, life and dead. That situation. So yeah, I think if there is intention, then it will happen. It must happen in just matter of time, sooner or later, that we truly, really begin to understand. In again in relative degrees, because there is no end to understanding. Yeah.
Yeah, and like throughout the day, you read bits and pieces. Like even if you're reading, related to integral yoga, and you're reading Mother's words, and you're reading Sri Aurobindo's words, but like because of social media, it's flashing left, right, center. Okay, and you are reading it. यहाँ पे एक patch, वहाँ, 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 वहाँ. So I don't know if that is also right, because वो एक लाइक एक चीज आप पढ़ते हो जो स्टेप बाय स्टेप है वो, एंड ये यहाँ से एक पैराग्राफ या समथिंग कम्स, बट समटाइम्स इट्स इन द लार्जर कॉन्टेक्स्ट, बट लाइक इन फेसबुक एंड ऑल you'll read a small paragraph that comes, and तो समटाइम्स वो एंड ऑफ द डे तक पता नहीं, वो थोड़े कंफ्यूजन फील होते हैं, लाइक कभी कभी कॉन्ट्रोडिक्टरी लगता है. अच्छा ये ऐसे तो ये क्योंकि यू आर एक्चुअली रीडिंग वेरी स्मॉल पार्ट्स ऑफ लार्जर टेक्स्ट, तो वो
I think
I don't know.
even that is good, because see, anyway, all the time we are having drops of some thoughts and imagination. Aren't we involved in that?
Hmm.
All the
Hmm.
time, 24 hours, drops of thoughts, imaginations, feelings, I'm already drenched in. So now these are the drops that I'm drenched in. I mean, कुछ ना कुछ तो, you know, something positive only will unfold in future, because
Hmm.
usually what we are involved in is all negative, repetitive loops. We know, all of us know.
Yeah,
So
yeah, no,
I
that
think,
is true.
yeah,
नहीं,
they may be
मतलब मैं
just
बस
drops,
हाँ
and they
just
may create confusion. But
Right.
even confusion is better than being in an inertia stage where you think that, okay, all set, the grooves are set.
हाँ, but
Yeah.
ये what I'm trying to say is that it's all you're absorbing mentally. So mentally, sometimes you feel all the more, like I'm just talking about the mental. Baki,
Yeah, yeah,
somewhere it
yeah,
wo, like it resonates. It goes deeper. Right, वो
yeah,
deeper
yeah,
connection है. Somewhere
yeah,
it gives you solace, all that. But I'm just talking about
yeah,
the mental faculty. The mental
yeah.
faculty is not always, it gets very drained because अच्छा ये अच्छा मतलब you trying to from your limited mind, आप limited वो like those small small information ये वो, तो आपके पास पूरा knowledge है नहीं. आप छोटा मोटा लेते हो, कहीं अंदर से बहुत solace से आप ये सब पढ़ते हो, लेकिन mental faculty gets confused sometimes, like
अब
uh,
देखो ना इसका क्या फायदा है. Now this trying to understand through the mental faculty, which as you said that it's limited in nature, it brings about more confusion if we want to just understand through mental. इसका भी फायदा हो रहा है ना, because this confusion you will try to resolve. We
hmm,
have a property that we can't stay in a confused state for a long time. We want to resolve. Something in us wants to resolve that confusion. So once
mm-hmm.
you have tried enough, tried enough, tried enough through the mental faculty, it's not resolving, not resolving, then the mind goes quiet.
यही, yeah, actually that happens,
And
the
when the
mind goes
mind goes
quiet.
quiet, then some intuitive insight can dawn. So I think this process has its own
Yeah,
purpose.
yes, yeah, this makes
Hmm.
total sense because actually the mind goes quiet, मतलब
Hmm.
you reach a point where like अभी लगता है नहीं, अभी बस शांत. बिकॉज आप इतना सोचते हो हर जगह, आप वो डॉट्स कनेक्ट करने की कोशिश करते हो, बट आपको पता है कि आप लिमिटेड इंफॉर्मेशन लेकर ही चल रहे हो, कुछ यहाँ से कुछ वहां से कुछ वहां से, एंड देन फाइनली जब शांत होते हो ना, तब बेटर फील होता है. या in the hindsight you can see that it has added to your wisdom and understanding, but it takes you to a point where you feel, oh, this is getting too confusing, like.
Absolutely. I think that's why Kabir ji says दौड़त दौड़त दौड़िया जहां लगी मन की दौड़ दौड़ थके मन स्थिर भया तो वस्तु ठौर की ठौर. So वो दौड़ना जो है mental दौड़ना even or the outer दौड़ना, I think it has a proper place in our evolution.
Hmm.
Because before that I don't get convinced that okay, why should I have a silent mind? I mean, I can use the mind all the time. I can understand through the time, through the mind, but then there are things that I can't understand through the mind. So when I'm trying like a hamster, on the wheel running, then I say, oh
Mhm.
my God, not happening, not happening. And then I go just quiet. And in that quietness, one becomes that receptacle for higher force without even
Hmm.
knowingly. Yeah,
True, true.
yeah. तो अच्छा है हमें भागना चाहिए. This mental gymnastics. Yeah.
Also, with all this confusion, your thirst is also increasing. So, आपको भी चारा नहीं है. You know, आपको मतलब वो it's like you need it more and you want to know more, and yet you get confused and yet you can't, मतलब like it's only going forward, you can't go backward, ऐसे. Sometimes I feel that, like आप कोशिश भी करो तो आप कभी मतलब वो पीछे नहीं जाता, like आपको और चाहिए और चाहिए और चाहिए, वैसा हो जाता है.
Yes, yes. And that is the certitude, what Mother shares, prayers and meditations mean that it's only forward. Now, I may take detours to go forward in my ignorance, or I may consciously walk forward. That's our choice. But the walk is only forward. So that's the certitude and that's the beauty. Yeah. Yeah. Anything on this that we read?
Yeah, just this thing is coming to me that how do we come this far? Like, how have we, how come we have come this far from this, right? Like, say, if you go in a hospital or if you're working in a hospital, one knows that it's all about hand washing, right? Like germs, microbes, and like it's not even something you would think about that is that true? Because it's just like the whole thing is just, you know, germs, and hand washing. Like for example, just and that's what say I would say to my kids, like wash your hand, wash your hand. Like how the mechanism of things by that collective belief becomes so strong that it's very, and then it's because you believe in it, you get it. And then you say, Arey, I take so much good care, or that was that time he didn't wash hands, so maybe that's why he got sick, because that's the only thing I know, and I want to fit all my puzzles in that box, and it could have no relevance to reality. So it's very expanding to see that, you know, पिक्चर तो अभी शुरू हो रही है मेरे दोस्त kind of that thing कि what have you been playing with, and yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
so
very true, very true.
And
Mm.
yet, I think there are so many people who don't know about these things, and it comes to them naturally. And you see that, yeah, I mean, they have that kind of strength, and they don't fall sick often and all. But it's not that they know this theory. It's just that they come with this, like the way of living is like this, and it you see that, yeah, that they
Yes,
such में illness नहीं आता and all.
yes,
So
yes,
yeah, I mean, I know that this is the way, but कैसे it's not like it doesn't come so easily to everybody. I mean, see, I
yeah,
will read it. Okay, I will have this knowledge mentally, and yet I won't be able to apply it as much as for somebody who's not read it, and yet naturally it comes to them, like.
yeah. And I think why how it's naturally coming to them without even knowing the theory, as Mother says, that many people are consciously living, not in the sense that they're living through their psychic being, but they don't know the word psychic being, and they have no idea what is soul consciousness. But that is in front, very obviously in front. So it has, of course, as you said, nothing to do with knowing the theory. And the second thing is that, mm, lost the thread, lost the thread. Yeah. Yeah, I think what I wanted to share that this mental thing, most of us who are intellectuals, because see, the whole journey is about purifying yourself, right? And we know, some of us know consciously, some of us may not know consciously, but we are full of impurities. And at any point of time, if that impurity is in front, I get ill. But if we are on the path of yoga, how it helps is, oh, this is what was maybe a wrong movement there, what Mother was sharing, that somehow we cut ourselves from that light. And the line that I wanted to bring to front was that we turn towards ourselves, a selfish turning back upon yourself that cuts you off from the light and divine energy. And this we are doing all the time. I mean, it's very common and natural to us that we are, it's like that's the way we live. The other thing that I lost, the thing that I lost, I got again. That many a times, like you were sharing, that for somebody else it may come very naturally, the way of living, that purified way of living. Now we don't see how much effort that person may have put in the past lifetime. That we have no idea of. But we today we look at him or her and we say, see, effortlessly this person can be pure and maybe without any disease, balanced. And look at me, how much effort I have to do. but we have no idea how much effort he has put, in the earlier times.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. True.
yeah, yes.
Yeah, one thing I have seen again is, say, if something is going on around or something, or if I think about it, if I feel any aversion or fear towards it, just the slightest movement of, oh, it would be inconvenient, or oh, and then it comes, it just comes, and then when I'm in the middle of it, it's like, still I did not need to fear it. Like, I'm in it, and yet it's all right. So I think that also is a way of taking out my impurities. जैसे मार के जैसे कहते हैं ना कि that mat is cleaned, but I don't know what that thing is, but I feel that's also again so much grace कि अच्छा इससे डर रहे थे. Okay, see, don't. So the ultimate thing is कि you experience it again and again and again and again, and you realize that, nothing is to be feared. That's such a beautiful place to even think about, realizing that absolute fearlessness कि मैं डरूं क्यों, है ना, मतलब like if mother is with me, in me, I'm made of her, then how is it possible that I allow myself to feel scared? Like how?
Yeah, so true. Yeah, even I have felt that. डरो तो भी वो आएगा, नहीं डरो तो भी आएगा. So I mean, you have no escape. तो फिर हम क्यों डरते हैं? I mean, I don't know.
I think इसी को कहते होंगे ना, what we talk about win-win situation, कि आएगा तो आएगा, है ना, मतलब एंड देखना ही पड़ेगा, झेलना ही पड़ेगा, so then you would know that अच्छा ये भी झेल लिया, ये भी, I can go through this, I can go through this, what you were most fearing. Yeah.
I think this is totally just on the lines of वो जो दोहा है ना, तुलसी भरोसे राम के, and निश्चय, I don't know, without stress सोए, अनहोनी होनी नहीं, होनी होए सो होए. Such a basic, simple thing that we have heard, grown up hearing, and still we always sit on it. कि अरे अरे, this is my impression and this is my image, and ये ना हो जाए, वो ना हो जाए. And so simply put, right? What has to happen will happen. So why to worry? We've heard it so many times that it sounds cliche now, right? And yeah,
Yeah. I
so
think just
nice
Sunma
even
once,
to recall these.
yeah, just Sunma was sharing, once that her lama was, that anything may happen, and he would say, like, big deal. So what? Yeah. Yes, Vaishali. Are you talking? No, we can't hear anything. I think also that we often we underestimate ourselves also, that no, no, this would be too much for me. This would be too much for me. Since we keep on living in our limited self and not know that how much strength we can actually kind of harness if we keep on going within and allowing actually situations to challenge us more and more. So the more challenge we get, the more we realize that, oh my God, I didn't know that I had this strength even to go through this, even to go through this. So I think we do underestimate ourselves, and that's why the fear also comes that no, no, this I can't go through. This would be too much. And then that thing happens if the grace is there and you realize that, oh, I could go through that. So
But
if we
yet you don't
allow
get it.
ourselves, yes.
Now,
Yeah,
each
sorry.
time when you go, each time when you go through something, and yet next time you're not ready for something, so even though you know कि like जो भी हुआ, all these years you've gone through that and you've come out of that, and yet somehow you're never prepared for the next one.
True, true, true. Yeah. And I think also that we have to remind ourselves that didn't we, go through that? big deal which appeared like a big deal, that big deal which appeared like a big deal. So that reminder is also, I think, from time to time important, because we just forget our strengths somehow, or some people may actually just remember their strengths, they may forget their weaknesses. That can also happen. But I think the balance needs to be there, a fact check along with knowing that we have um, a strength that we don't know how much strength we have. We really don't know. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
I think here there's a lot of times a tendency to remember the bad things when things happen. We don't see the transcendence or the courage I felt mostly. I have to remind myself of the courage. But the fear, the inconvenience, the pain that the other had to go to, say, in a disease, that is something that is standing right there. So that is why one is again and again kind of thinking. So it's like, you have to rewrite the script with fact. That thing is there. And plus, when you were talking about we underestimate, parallelly we overestimate because we believe that I know what is happening. I know how we fall sick. I know what works for me. Even in terms of the ilaj, as in I know कि this helps me, that would be good. ये पिला दो, वो कर दो. So just that the whole thing. So underestimation there, overestimation here, and no idea of what's going on. I have no clue. And I'm just throwing, darts in the dark and still claiming, see, I'm doing this. I took them to that doctor. So it's just funny. It's just funny and it's not sad or whatever.
And yet, Taru, what would you do now? I mean, you like today I was also reflecting. Yeah, you are part of your stories and all, and yet you don't know how to, you be in the world, and it's only in retrospection that you get better with the, these reflections. And but all the time you are in the story. How to be and not be in the story and yet be participate and remember. I don't think the whole journey, I think, is about being in the story and moving forward. Somehow, like you have to act in that, you have to go by what you know, or what is your, at that moment what you feel kya karna hai. वो only in the hindsight I feel अच्छा ये लगा ये हुआ अच्छा ये नहीं करना है, but you can't not be in the story and move forward. मतलब at least I today only I was thinking कि how do you do that, like.
I think this is what integral yoga, what Mother Sri Aurobindo talk about, is about. That being in the story, not to abandon the story, and that's why he says this reality as dream reality, and yet something like a fact. So he says that it may be a dream, but it's a dream fact. So if there is a truck coming from front, I just can't keep standing in front saying that, oh, it's a dream, it's a story. I will have to move away if I want to, take care of my body. So, so it is a dream, kind of a dreamy thing going on, but still it has a relative reality. And we can't ignore that reality. And that is our task in integral yoga. That's what they share, that to understand slowly and to have realizations of that unity, that interconnectedness, who we truly are, and the reflection of that in our story. Because otherwise, where is the check? Where is the test? Test is in the story. Otherwise, how would I know that any realization has been practical realization, if not for the story unfolding itself in front of me?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So what I mean is that, yeah, like it is the test and you go through it, but the point is you can't not go through it ना. मतलब ये जो हम सिर्फ apply कर सकते हैं, but the thing is ये सारे lessons जो हम समझते हैं वो apply करेंगे, and like it's not that anything will go away. It's just that you will only try to apply it. You might get better, slowly, but the things will remain. It's just that, like वही है कि आप better you understand yourself, or you understand how this works, or you have like you you are slowly you are transforming, but यही है, field तो यही है. That's what I mean, like, I mean, you have to go in the. I mean, you can't separate yourself from this and then think कि मतलब I get it, or uh, and the fact that when you are in it, वही है, just to be a witness conscious, वो तो like like it is a journey, तो uh, वो तो चलता रहेगा. And you don't even know what was your which lifetime this is, and you know uh, I mean कितनी प्रिपरेशन हुई है वो तो समझ नहीं आता. ये पता है कि अभी प्रिपरेशन करना है, बट ये भी पता है कि अ, आप सिर्फ तैयारी कर रहे हो, क्योंकि वो भी लाइक अंदर से एक नीड है, लाइक समवेयर योर इनर नीड टू मूव फॉरवर्ड इन दिस डायरेक्शन, बट यू डोंट नो द मैप, मतलब, और आपको वो डेस्टिनेशन भी पता नहीं, लाइक इफ आई एम called towards this and I'm moving, and yet like I feel ki uh, maybe I have like hundreds of lives more, to get there. And am I making sense? Matlab,
Yeah, and there is no actually getting there. The
नहीं
journey is
भाई,
endless.
नहीं
And
Monica, you're
knowing
right,
that,
but we
yeah,
are talking and listening about people who got there. That is where.
I think यहाँ पे ना, I think there is a checkpoint here because Sri Aurobindo and Mother themselves, they never said that we are that, like I am done. And Sri Aurobindo himself said, for example, the synthesis of yoga that he created or the essays on the Gita, that what explanation I'm giving right now is only relevant in the context of right now. And there would be much more, different explanations that will come in time according to the need of the hour. So he is
Hmm.
also saying that my word is not the final word. His essays on the Gita, this is what he shares, that this commentary, earlier they were commentaries, or understandings or interpretations, they had their own purpose. Right now, whatever is the need is being here, presented. And then even this is not the final word. And that is
Hmm.
why Mother uses the other word for divine is perfection. So in my life,
Hmm.
if day to day I have this just basic attitude of learning, unlearning all the time, know, so just enough knowing that I'm not perfect, we are all moving towards perfection, recognizing my mistakes, recognizing joyfully my errors, knowing that I have to move on, and that moving on and on and on and on is the joy. One is not waiting for the thing to end so that I can have the joy, that when will this end and I will become perfect. Why? Because on the way it's so much of joy, this improvisation that we do, have you seen there is so much joy in improvisation? Somebody, like maybe you're cooking something, and somebody says that, oh, have you tried adding this thing to this thing that you're cooking? And you said, oh, I've never tried, let me try it. And you try it, and something changes, and you say that, oh, this is better than what I used to prepare. So it gives you immense joy. More ghee, for
Hmm.
example. Yes. Taru just wrote for me
Hmm.
more ghee. Today I made pulao and added more ghee, and it really,
Oh yes, oh yes, that does magic. Yeah.
more love, more ghee. Maybe your total presence, in the cooking, whatever. I mean, so I think this is what especially people and each person is good at least a few things. And when they are doing it just for the joy of it, then they are very happy to take improvisation. At times I'm not happy to take improvisations because it is my sense of self attached with it, but that, I am the best, how can I take that, there's something wrong with this. But when you are uh, working towards perfection, then you would never say that I am the best, because you know that this can be improvised, this can be improvised, so happily taking, receiving suggestions, and then happily experimenting with them, seeing what works, what doesn't work. And that itself
Hmm.
is joy. Now, no one is waiting for the end to happen. So that's what
No,
I
no.
meant.
See, yeah, we're not waiting, but see, like, एक होता है कि आप, like अपने हिसाब से, like, if you don't know the text, okay, you don't know, you know nothing, and then just by the goodness of your, or your natural journey, you will move forward. And anyway, looking back, when you didn't know, you've done better only gradually. That is the path. Like, if you are conscious, without any knowledge of the text, you are doing better. बट जब आप पढ़ते हो, टेक्स्ट पढ़ते हो, एंड देन लाइक मेंटली यू मेक फ्रेमवर्क, आई एम जस्ट टॉकिंग माई सेल्फ, लाइक कितना भी आप लाइक नहीं सोचो, फिर भी वो आ जाता है, अच्छा दिस ओके, नॉट दिस ओके, दिस ओके, यू माई लोअर वाइटल, ओ गॉड, नो नो, डोंट गिव इन, यू हैव लर्न दैट इन, लाइक सो मेनी सेशन, नो, तो ऐसे में you lose the natural thing anyway. I feel you're good only. Why you get into this mental thing of अरे ये नहीं है इसको, इस like I should not encourage this. ये बहुत mental game हो जाता है, मोनिका. I mean, I'm talking about my journey.
No, I absolutely resonate. And as we were discussing earlier, that this has a purpose. And in time, we will have to transcend this because this can't just go on forever. We will get bugged up by this mental confusion like you are getting bugged up. So that, so this getting bugged up is a very beautiful state, I would say, to reach that, oh, now I can't trust my mental gymnastics. That's where we enter the the phase of intuitive perception, because now you don't resonate much with the mental gymnastics. You wait, rather, aspire and wait for the intuitive insight.
Hmm.
Yeah. Earlier,
Hmm.
intuitive insight appeared like hallucination, but now it would not appear like hallucination. Now there will be more conviction about it. Yes.
Hmm. Yeah, it is. Yeah, मतलब वही ऐसे लगता है.
Just one thing that, while everything is going on, like what Shweta was saying, and, it's everybody's story, and yet when you have seen something again and again, parallelly something develops that when you hear a voice saying that I know, then another thing is just looking at it and smiling that, acha, you do? Okay, good, because I have no idea. So, it's like you can see that one part of you is just dancing, right, to the tunes of, say, the collective or your old. And yet there is a part which is now a bit more stabilized, which is probably laughing at my I know. So just then it's happening parallelly. So if one is just more conscious that okay, that and it happens, that's not a possibility that it doesn't, that all my I knows or I have to figure it out. You are seeing that a part of you is still saying, and yet another part is just smiling at it. It's good for you. Good for you if you still know. So just it's very beautiful when he was saying, and one knows that yeah, okay, this is
Yeah,
it. That
yeah. I mean, like what I feel that anyway I don't know, and anyway I'll be taken care of. Then why am I trying to know so much? Sometimes you feel like deep down I know that I am being taken, and yet I want to, like hold this, have the baton, and like I am the one who's, no, that doership doesn't end. That's what I mean. That to just give up on the doership and just anyway you'll be taken to that thing.
Yeah. So I'll just read a few lines from this, not exactly on this passage, but something related, which again from Veda of the Body by Dr. Alok Pandey. So after he comments, then he shares exactly this paragraph which we just read, that it is this that is the cause of your falling ill and not the microbe. So before that, there is a little commentary, and I'm just going to read a few lines, not all the things. So he says that if if on the other hand, in the face of an approaching illness, we can learn how to enter deep within us, thereby creating in and around us a very quiet vibration, a vibration of peace. So, see, illness is still approaching. It's not that we are totally safe. He says that if, on the other hand, in the face of an approaching illness, we can learn how to enter deep within us, thereby creating in and around us a very quiet vibration. Usually, we are anxious, we are restless. Oh, what if, oh, what would happen? Oh, I have that, meeting on this day, and would I be able to take it if I fell ill, something like that. So, instead of that agitation, restlessness, I'm creating like a kavach, like a protection, internal protection and outside protection of this peace, vibration of peace, of harmony, of health, of light, of goodwill, and cheer. These words are usually very clichédly, we use it, but each word is like full of consciousness. Vibration of peace, of health, of harmony, of light, of goodwill, and cheer, which creates a sort of protective shield. जैसे ढाल use करते हैं, with swords we have this ढाल. There is something I got reminded of in these aartis, Durga Aarti and all that. There is something called Durga Kavach. Some of us may have heard of it. I've never read it really, but there is something like Durga Kavach. It's like a protective shield that you form by reading that. Yeah, something. So this creates helping us resist the most sinister of attacks if we create this vibration of peace and goodwill. Even if one cannot remain always in this state, since it is not an easy affair for many of us, we can try to be on guard as soon as we feel the negative vibration approaching us. So it's not that all the time. Just a second. Call for help. Yeah. So it's not easy affair for many of us. That so even if we cannot remain always in this state, we can try to be on guard as soon as we feel the negative vibration approaching us. Some people know it instinctively, in their bones, as they say. Others can learn to become aware of this. So I think what Shweta was sharing, to some it comes naturally, which is okay, but it can also be cultivated. I can cultivate being sensitive to the vibration and then creating this kavach or protection, a shield in me and around me. So some people know it instinctively in their bones, as they say. Others can learn to become aware of this almost material sensation of illness, that something is approaching, nearing. In fact, it manifests at each level. It may manifest as a strange and disagreeable sensation in taste and smell, or an unpleasant feeling or something touching us at a distance. It could be at any level that you become sensitive that, oh, something is coming. It may change the very quality of air around, or else manifest itself as a feeling of fear, or even a frank suggestion that one is going to fall in. So many levels we can get in touch with. Any one level we get in touch with, we can take it as a, like something, like a signal. And lo and behold, the prophecy is fulfilled more often than not. Yeah.
So at such times, then what kavach were you saying? Matlab, you have to what is the antidote to this? Like if you're getting these,
So
uh,
he's suggesting
huh,
here that the moment you get in touch with some vibration of an unease, like how he shares at different levels, it can be that intuitive feeling, gut feeling, you become maybe in the body uneasy, you get a suggestion in the thought. If you see negative vibration approaching, then he says that the most helpful here is to create in and around us a very quiet vibration, a vibration of peace, health, harmony, light, goodwill, and cheer. That one can do it at many levels. One can do it
What's
at
the
a level of
last
yes,
word you said? What was the
cheer, being cheerful,
fear?
cheerful,
I heard fear.
being happy.
Mm.
Like, yeah, yes, yeah. One a friend who is a gynecologist and very intuitive one. She was once sharing that she was herself not well, and then she had to tend to a person who was in labor, and she was becoming very agitated. That person in labor, and she rushed to her cabin, and she just went there, put a hand on that lady, and said, "Absolutely still." And that lady also became very calm after that. And she said that somehow it had an effect on me also. That since I was going through some restlessness owing to what I was being diagnosed with in the morning, it actually made me, parallelly, like both of us became very grounded with that command that, just absolutely still, quiet.
Yeah.
And what mother says that while we are sleeping, this is a practice to be done. And this is how we self master ourselves. That now the mind has to rest. So you make your body, the mind absolutely still, no movement of thought, no movement of feeling, and the body is absolutely still and quiet. So I think this is a very good cultivation, if you do it either in the morning, towards night, or whenever one wants to do it.
Hmm. I just had a glimpse of it, but not as a cultivation, as a desperation, out of desperation, like just, I think I've shared with you just a couple of days ago when my younger child was not well. वही था सुबह एग्जाम है and like till night 3 o'clock we were like I was praying all the time, but she was not so well. And then finally I reached a point out of desperation, like कि matlab I give it up. And then I said to mother, like, only, let die will happen, like, really. And I said, just give now strength, just give endurance to whatever happens, like, just give, because like my child was in a lot of trouble. So, and I held her and I just, एक stillness आया Monica, like it was just after, like you reach that rock bottom and then वो आता है बोलते हैं ना, and it was magical because I am just feeling still and I have no expectation, nothing. I'm just holding her. And then finally, like, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, it just went on and on and on. She dozed off, and then morning she gave the exam also. She went and gave. It was magical for me, like, after itna, like, like literally, like, वो बोलते हैं ना फटफड़ाना पूरा यही चल रहा था. And then you it was just a moment where there's like absolute, like, no
Yeah, yeah.
expectation, nothing, and pure, like, pure
Mm-hmm.
stillness. You reached that, so it
Mm-hmm.
was very,
Mm-hmm.
very magical
Mm.
for me. It came out
Yeah.
of that desperation, so to cultivate this
See,
every day.
yeah, this is very good what you're sharing, that this came out of that desperation, because now we can again what we were talking about that day, thesis, antithesis, synthesis. So one can uh, take 2 points. One says desperation is not good. The other one is saying no, desperation is good. Right? Now they're appearing very two opposing things. But here you see like intermingling of both, that how desperation can actually take you to a point where, something can change, like a shift in consciousness can happen. And mother says that if one can live it once, if you get a glimpse of it once, then to keep reliving it, even in your memory, because in our memory we are reliving many, many things again, right? So mother says that if that has happened once, then it can actually become my life. This uh, acting, operating from that stillness, the poise that you were sharing. So mother says that not to discount it, that no, that is only a one time happening and it won't happen again. My normal day-to-day life is this chaos, that is given to me. So that's what she shares, that if we have been given a glimpse once, then it can happen again and again and then can become our life. Yeah. So to have that certitude. Yeah. Anything else? Anyone? Yeah.
Yeah, well, JK have also said the same thing in this book, The First and the Last Freedom, that our belief and our knowledge, they are too intimately connected to our desire, and we don't let go of it easily. And it is also connected to our, what you call, our training, our way of our knowledge and all that, that many a times we become mute spectators and we don't take part in the entire game.
Yeah. So I think many, again, seems like a small paragraph, but many takeaways here that usually, as we say, that we are our own enemy. And somehow we see, if we become conscious that we are the ones making a favorable ground or this depression that mother is sharing. Actually, we are feeding that depression most of the time. If we become conscious of our thoughts and feelings, we will see that most of the time we are our own enemy. We are the ones who is making a favorable ground in myself so that that depression is created, and the garbage or the illness can rush in, and fill up that depression. So I think that's one of the takeaways, that to become conscious, that not to keep feeding this favorable ground and not to keep feeding this depression kind. Depression is like, like there is a road and there is a crack and then the road caves in. So there is a depression. It like creates a crack or a space for something negative to enter. Hmm. It is this that is the cause of your falling in and not microbes. So I think this is also very interesting, this paragraph again and again kind of. When you cut yourself off from the energy and light that sustain you, that the grace that is sustaining us every day, we are alive, we are functional, we are relatively in harmony, there is a relative ease within. That's grace, as mother, somebody asked the mother that regarding airplane accidents, that why does it happen that when an accident happens, then only a couple of people are saved by grace and others are not saved. So mother says, okay, that's a very interesting question to ask, because every day there are thousands of planes flying without crashing. There you don't say that, grace is functioning. So I keep reminding myself of this again and again, that every day we are functional, relatively in an easy, healthy state of being. And how do we cut off ourselves from energy and light? When this attention goes to this self obsession, this limited me, and what is lacking in my life and what is missing in my life. So this a selfish turning back upon yourself, that is what cuts you off from the light and divine energy. And that's why in Mother's prayers and meditations, we see that again and again she shares as if a remedy, which is self forgetfulness, self abnegation. Just ignore your desires and demands and get rid of this uh, identifying with this limited, lacking self that you are. Because there is no end to it. Just like there is no end to the divine, divine is infinite, there is also no end to being identified with the ego, limited, lacking consciousness. So if I can just keep it aside, that okay, it may be there, but I'm not going to give it attention. Self-abnegation, self-forgetfulness, and offer ourselves to whatever is there in the present. Any task, anything at hand where one can offer oneself. So just offering yourself to that. That's the remedy. Mm.
Just one thing I would want to add that's been a kind of moral of the story here for me. We are all looking for morals even when we might not need them. That if I feel that movement, if I see that, when you were speaking about that sensation, that fear, that anxiety coming in, what I tend to do is that I just, when I see it, either obviously I get kind of convinced by it or I just suppress it. Oh, no, 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 nothing like that. In the sense, I don't give it the time of the day. I don't see that, okay, this has happened and it has come in, and now let me look at it and, you know, kind of bring that peace that you were saying. I either ignore it or I get affected by it, or I shrug it in under the carpet. But here, what is being said is that when you see that vibration, you're feeling that thing, whichever medium you're feeling, don't just spread it here and there. Just sit, peace, and then like as in something has come, and now you have to create that thing that it can be released because in my this it stays, something of it stays within me and then it flourishes. So it's a very small thing because it feels that if I'm not looking at it, it's the same thing, but it's not right, like, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think what Tignathan shares is also like totally, I can see a sync here that he shares that we don't have to run away from our pain or suffering or unease. But when the suffering is there, and if we can breathe through it, not wanting to do anything about it, just like holding the suffering, with our breathing, mindful of the breathing. So he says that that mindfulness of breathing almost creates like an embracing energy, which has a greater vibration. And this comes in Mother's words also, that this has a greater vibration which can easily take care of this little, uneasy vibration that came, which was like abandoned, like an abandoned child. It was just wanting to be held. And now with that mindfulness of breathing, you have created that enveloping energy, or with this quiet and peace, what we were reading, which now can take care and dissolve. Yes. We want situations to be our way, which is why we are not at peace. Is this also a demand that should be dropped? I think many things here say that um, I think somebody says that if you can do, mother says that people worry too much and they should not worry, because when you can do something about a situation, then rather than worrying, you do something about it, right? And then she says that if you know that the situation is so out of hand that you can't do anything about it, then why to worry? So something like that, that in any case, any which case, the situation doesn't require worry or anxiety or panic from our side, because that doesn't help the situation in any way. If it's in my hand to anything that I can do to make it right, to make it better, then we do that, we make that action. And if I know that even if I make the action, nothing is really going to change, then having the best possible attitude in that situation, that okay, what can I learn, what can I grow, how can I grow through this phase that is in front of me. I think that takes care, and that is what is right attitude in life. That if you can change it, then why to worry? You try your best to change it. And if you can't change it, then again, why to worry? Because what will worry do? And things are better done from peace and calm, what we were reading, rather than from restlessness and worry. And also, if we see from the Buddhist perspective, they say that every action that we take from the knot of restlessness, the ego consciousness, it is like you are accumulating more and more negative burden of karma. Who would want that? Once we know that, okay, I can stop it, we can try to shift it.
And I think your journey also is all about that only. मतलब आपको ये समझ नहीं आ रहा है तो आपके experiences आपको यही समझाने की कोशिश भी कर रहे हैं. Like I think yeah.
Yeah, yes. Yeah. Any last comments? Because I don't want to begin with anything new. So this is enough for today, 23 page. I think now we have a new question which we will maybe take next time. Yeah. Yeah. Any last comments? Anyone reflections? Okay, so maybe we can end with a dedication towards the end. Just taking a moment in silence and sharing all the merit we may have accumulated with all the sentient beings, sharing the merit. May everyone have peace in their hearts. May all of us have peace in their hearts and lots of joy and progress in life. Thank you. Thanks for joining, everyone.